Happy May, everyone. I'm Vivian. Yep. I'm the founder of Corporate Rentals USA and Hestia, the brand and trust the. Let me do that again. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Vivian Yip. I'm the founder of Corporate Rentals USA and the trusted brand in midterm rentals called Hestia. And I am here today with Connie Phung out of California. And we're going to talk about investing in midterm rentals out of state. So, Connie, you are way more ballsy than I am because I only invest in my own market. I would love to hear your journey as
Yeah.
to why midterm rentals and how you were brave enough to invest, halfway or actually across the nation in
Yeah.
a market that you're not really familiar with. So walk me through that.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, how I got into midterm rentals is 100% because of you. So thank you for that. We met at a conference last summer, and I was new to my real estate investment journey. And at that point, I was really just a sponge. I think I'm still a sponge, but I was really a sponge and just open to everything, right? I looked at syndications, I looked at flipping, I looked at MTR, STR, what have you. And I really just took a step back after our very lengthy discussion one night about MTR, and then I really leaned in on it and to try to really figure out if it's for me, and which real estate strategy, investment strategy works best. And yeah, and then from there, I went all in on MTRs.
That's amazing. Well, when we talked last year, you didn't have any investments at all, right?
I had one long-term investment, which I don't even count. I don't even consider that as an investment because it was really my starter home, and then we just kept it and we just rented it out, and then we, upgraded to a bigger home when our family grew. But yeah, that was it.
Okay. And then why? So tell me about where your midterm rentals are and why
Mhm.
you pick those markets. Like, what was your research process like? I mean, because
So
America is
yeah,
huge, right? Where do you begin?
America is huge.
Where do you begin?
Yes. I spent a lot. So I was determined. I was absolutely determined to take action. So before taking action on and actually going under contract and purchasing a property, it all starts with a market analysis, right? So I looked at several markets and I was doing crazy market research. Um, on a daily basis, quite honestly. And it was really just a process of elimination. So I first started out with a strategy. I knew I wanted to do midterm rental, right? And then I started looking at, okay, which markets are going to give me the most tenant avatars, right? For the midterm rental space. And then I was looking at markets like crazy for a few weeks until finally I was like, I decided to just pull the trigger in Philadelphia.
But what were the runner-up cities and like what differentiated Philadelphia?
Yeah. So, the runner-up cities, I mean, there were so many. So I looked at St. Louis, Missouri. I looked at Houston. I looked at parts of Florida. I looked at upstate New York, so I was really all over the map, honestly. And what I was looking for was universities, financial district, um, and still like major development. So that to me is a sign of economic growth, right? As well as major research centers and hospitals. And I think what really resonated with me for Philadelphia in particular is my background is in biotech. So, um, just similar to Boston and similar to California, Philadelphia has a major life sciences and research and biotech hub. So I knew that in itself would be another avatar, if you will.
Okay. And what resources did you use to find that information?
So I used um I used friendly Google, right? But then I also used city data, and I used and I read a lot of actual local newspapers. So the local newspapers and the local area publishings would tell me in more detail the different areas about development and growth and movement and so forth.
So let's go to the academics, for instance. You're looking at
Yeah.
university centers. How do you know if that university is hiring a lot of people like that would need housing?
Yeah.
Were
So
there
you
clear
don't
indicators?
Right. So you don't know per se, right? But I do look at US News. So US News publishes information on every university. Um, I liked that Philadelphia has two big universities, so both UPenn and Drexel within walking distance of each other. Both universities have student populations of over like 30,000 people, right? So that in itself tells me there is a lot of movement in and out of those universities. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was very, very nervous. But the another factor is also price point. I was able to purchase both of my properties for under 300,000. So versus a lot of other areas, that could be very challenging.
Yeah. So let's talk about that then. What what were you looking for in terms of the asset? You talked about under 300,000. Talk to me, describe what $300,000 gets in your market.
Yeah, so three bedrooms is or three bedrooms or more. You get a three bedroom or higher for 300,000. Because this was my first time investing out of state, I did want something more turnkey. But there are small homes. They're less than 1,500 square feet. They're not big, homes. It's homes that you would typically find in the city, right? So they're typically smaller. Both of my properties happen to have a small backyard, but it's not uncommon to not have a backyard, for example. And there's no dedicated parking spots, right? Which is pretty common for that area.
Got it. And do you think having that backyard helps set you apart when it comes to housing requests?
100%. Yes. Yes, backyard, because we are in the city, and because most people don't have backyards, having the backyards, I do get a lot more inquiries with from families, with small children or families with pets because I have a backyard. Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
would definitely not buy a property now knowing that there is such a demand for it without a backyard.
What about like single story or double story? What does that look like for you for your properties?
They're both they are both double stories. I have lost some leads because they're double stories.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
had to do it all over again, would you try to get a single story then, or you're perfectly happy with what you have?
I am perfectly happy with what I have only because it's worked really well for me with different, other tenant pools. And then in the Philadelphia market, there just aren't that many single story options. It's very, very different from California and Texas. I personally, in the actual city of Philadelphia, I don't think I've even seen a single story home. So it's very, very rare.
Interesting. Okay. Now, what about financing? Did you finance it just through conventional or did you do DSCR? Like, what was that like? Was it hard to get an approval?
So, we just did traditional financing for the first two. I was completely new to investing, right? So I just knew that I wanted my money to grow and I wanted to move forward with real estate investing. So I just did the traditional route. And it wasn't terrible.
So you had to put 25% down or 20% down? What was that at?
25%. Yes.
5%?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so at 300,000, what's your mortgage payment?
So both of okay, so one property is 167,000, the other property is 222,000. So both of them are significantly less than 300.
Oh, good.
300 was kind of my target. But my mortgage payments range from 1,100 to like what, maybe 1,500, 1,600 a month.
And how much cash flow are you putting in your pocket?
So the first property, I got lucky. I got an insurance displaced family almost right away, and they're still in our property right now. They've been in the property since October. So they've been in there a long time. I'm cash flowing over 4,000 a month from that one property.
Woo!
Yes,
Amazing.
yes. Yeah, and then the second property, I'm cash flowing about 1,000 a month.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then you think that obviously the 4,000 a month cash flow is bonus. So when do they move
Yes.
out? When do they move out? Do you know?
They are expected to finish construction on their own home by the end of June. So they're going to be moving out soon.
Okay.
And for that one, I'm actually pivoting from midterm to room by rent.
Oh,
Rent
interesting.
by room, sorry. Yes.
Interesting. Are you going to be doing that through pad split or something?
No, I'm going to do it myself because it's only 3 bedrooms. Yeah,
Okay.
and the reason why I'm pivoting is because when I first started, and I did a whole market analysis, I always have a pulse on my competitors, who's in the neighborhood, who is offering MTRs and the rates, etc. And what I've noticed in the last 6 months is there's a significant increase of MTRs. I'm
Mm,
talking about like significant, like dozens and dozens and dozens more than when I started.
yep.
And you could tell that quite a lot of them are STR conversions.
Hmm.
Philly did ban STRs last summer, so my thought is probably people were just holding on to the property and figuring out what to do um, in that September October timeframe when I launched my MTR. And then since then, I mean, there's yeah, it's just really, really saturated for one of my properties. For the other one that's closer to the university and the research centers, there's not a lot of MTRs still, so it's been okay.
Got it. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully you get another lead for an insurance client right after this one moves out, but cross your
Yeah.
fingers and toes. Okay,
Yeah.
so what, being an ops person and logistics and just very highly organized in most days, I had trouble wrapping my head around furnishing a place, replenishing stuff, organizing cleaners, being able to be there and care as much as I do when
Yeah.
something's wrong, right? So, what does that look like for you? Like, how did you organize that? Because it's not easy to be a 5 hour flight away
Yeah.
and then there's going to be things out of your control. So, how do you overcome that?
So I am a control freak. It was definitely not easy for me, trust me. And I got a lot of the, newbie investor negative thoughts in the back of my mind all the time. But, my instinct and I think my plan and everything really paid off. So it's fine. But I think number one, so the first property I sent my husband to set it up. And then after that, we're like, okay, we're not doing this anymore because obviously we can't scale, right? But I also wanted him to get familiar with the Philly market because I have been once before, and so I wanted him to see it in person. So that was that. The second one, we launched completely remotely. I still haven't seen the property at all,
Wow.
and yeah, I still haven't seen the property at all. But that one is 98% booked, and fully occupied from when we launched it end of January all the way to it's booked until December 22nd, 22. Yeah.
Wow.
So, how we did it was, I mean, really, I had to hire and vet the right team. So I hired a local designer who also had an assembly team. And I am in my current role, I'm a people manager. So I think I interview and kind of gauge people very well. I also have a lot of experience managing projects, massive projects remotely. So
Mhm.
I think for me, it might have been a little bit easier than most average people because in my professional career for the last several years, every project that I've worked on has been global and remote. Um, so being able to communicate and having a plan is key. So I had spreadsheets, I had schedules, I had trackers, I had things like that. And as long as your team really understands what your expectations are, um, and you have very good communication and checkpoints along the way, then it's fine.
That's really good advice. I'm curious though, because I'm certain that there were hard days, right? Some
Oh, for
days
sure.
like, oh
Yeah.
my God, when is this going to end? What, how did you get through those hard days? Because launching midterm rental business, especially as a new investor,
Yeah.
especially across the country, what did you have to do to stay on path, like during the hardest times?
Okay, let me tell you the hardest time where I literally lost sleep and I thought that, oh my, the world is falling and I thought that I made the worst decision ever. And then you just get flooded with all this negative thoughts and doubts about yourself. So we purchased a property, we closed in December and we fully furnished the property and it was listed by end of January. Within like a week and a half or something like that, I got a month and a half booking. So the tenant was in there, and I was absolutely thrilled that I got a month and a half booking. The tenant stayed there for the family was there for about a week and a half, and I get a call early, early morning, West Coast time. I mean, I think it had to have been like 5:30 a.m. or something like that, right? um, from my guest, and he said, I need to move out right away. You need to send somebody because there are animal noises. And I was like, I literally fell off my chair. I live in suburbia. We have to deal with coyotes, but they're never in our house, right? Like, there's no, we don't live around animals, right? And I was like, what do you mean animal noises? Like, I was just freaking out. I didn't really know. I was like, okay, let me just try to figure out this situation. So he sent me video clips. It clearly is an animal that's bigger than a rat or a mouse. We don't know what kind of animal it is. It's between the top floor and the bottom floor. So somewhere in between the house and making just horrendous noises. Okay. So they're damaging my property while I'm like on the complete opposite side of the United States, right? I'm freaking out, the tenant's freaking out, whatever. Long story short, it ended up being a squirrel or squirrels. I had to hire a specialist. I had the tenant would not have it, and I don't blame them because the noise was pretty horrendous. So they moved out right away, and I was just like, oh my goodness, right? I lost thousands of dollars from this booking that got canceled. It was a pretty big setback, but how I got through it was, I mean, I just got into tactical mode. All right, Connie, like we have this issue. Okay, we need to put our heads down, put a plan together, and just it's like it was just execution mode at that point. It's
Yeah,
just figure this out, resolve this, and then open up your calendar again, right? And book it and see what comes. And so I got the issue resolved. Squirrels were removed. The house was all the openings were patched up or whatever. And then I end up getting a 2.5 month booking right away. And so what really helped me get through that moment was, and I swear, Vivian, like it's the weirdest thing. It's just I was okay. I was like, honey, you cannot freak out. You cannot freak out. And I was talking to myself and I was like, I'm just gonna manifest and have all the positive energy in the world just exuding out of my body and just be as positive as humanly possible. And oddly, I mean, it just works.
I love
And
that.
then and then since I mean, like there's no like it's not tactical. I don't know how to explain it, but I was like, I cannot get sucked into this black hole of negativity and
Yep.
risk
Mhm.
and all these what ifs. I had to give myself a pep talk and say, you know what you're doing and it's okay. And then next thing I know, I'm fully booked for the rest of the year.
That's amazing. And that mindset is so important because you could literally become crippled by worrying about the things that might not matter. So being able to
100%.
transition yourself into tactical mode is absolutely 100% an amazing skill set that you have. That is
Thank
that.
you.
But what about like, what's your end goal? Like if you're so skilled at running things across the pond or across the nation,
Yeah.
right? You obviously wanted to go into midterm rentals for a reason
Yep.
and do real estate investing. Where's Connie Phung going to be 5 years from now?
I am, yeah. So my end goal is time freedom. I want time to spend with my family. I want to be able to travel whenever I want to travel. And I know you and I have talked about this, right? Whenever, yeah, I'm a huge, passionate world traveler. I used to travel all the time, and my son, who is 6 now, used to travel with me all over the world all the time. And so having the time freedom is big for me. 5 years from now, my goal is to get into commercial and multifamily. It's always been my goal.
Yeah,
Midterm is just, my vehicle to get there. So yeah, that's my plan. And I've been looking at multifamily deals like crazy. Um, but yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I have no doubt that you're going to be able to do that because, we spent quite a few days together during the midterm rental summit about a month and a half ago, and I really got to know you. And I have no doubt in my mind that when you put your mind to it, you're going to get it done. So,
you're so
um,
sweet. Thank you.
before we sign off, though,
Yes.
I want you to share with the audience your ultimate house hacking real estate strategy.
Okay.
The puppy.
So my ultimate house hacking real estate strategy is instead of renting rooms from my primary house, I actually run a dog boarding business, which Vivian is very intrigued by.
Love dogs. I have two dogs. I'm a total dog person, right?
Yeah.
If I could have doggy roommates, oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. No, these furry friends, they come and some of them sleep with me in my bed. But it's so much fun. I absolutely love it. And it's so funny because we really did this more out of more because I was working from home and I was bored. And I needed some kind of socialization, right? Because I'm a social person. And next thing I know, it kind of like took off to be its own business. So I'm very happy about that. We have quite a lot of repeat clients and new clients, but yeah, that is my ultimate house hack. And I love them. They're always happy.
How do you screen them? And have you ever had to evict anybody? And do you have roommate drama?
Okay, so yeah, yes, I do screen them. We do meet and greet, and I do kind of get to know their personalities. 'Cause, they're just like humans. They all have very different personalities and needs. So I really make sure that if I'm booking them during a certain time, that I know the different personalities and that they're going to get along well, just like roommates. Have I ever had to evict? No, I haven't had to evict. And what was your last question? Sorry.
How much money do you make?
So I cash flow, like if I'm really trying and and I have a lot of time, I cash flow over 2,500 a month. And then if I'm cruising and I'm not trying at all and I'm not taking a lot of clients, I usually average about 1,500 or more a
That's
month.
amazing. So you have that $4,000 cash flowing midterm rental, another $1,000 cash flowing midterm rental, another $2,500 for the dogs. I mean, you're on your way to financial freedom pretty quickly.
I
Like,
live in California, so we're not quite there yet, but yes.
I'm trying to get her to move to Texas.
I know, and every time we chat, I always think about it, but that's a whole another story.
Well,
But
awesome.
yes,
If you had to share one book and one piece of advice, what would it be?
one book, definitely the 30-day stay. That's I always recommend to everybody. One piece of advice is, don't let your fears hold you back, right? I think it's really as simple as that. You know, I will fall, I will make mistakes, and I will learn along the way, but I took that leap of faith to invest across country, and it's worked for me, you know. Some of it is pure luck, such as the insurance booking, but I do think that, I mean, really it's just a matter of doing it, right?
I wouldn't call it pure luck. You position yourself at the right time, at the right place, with the right
Thank
strategy.
you. Thank
So,
you. Thank
yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
Well,
And
awesome.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you. I mean, you're really the reason why I started this midterm rental journey. So I can't thank you enough. And I love everything that you're doing with your brand. And you know, I just really appreciate you and all of your knowledge and your support.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. And for all the other listeners that want to learn from me and other people like Connie, you can join us on our Facebook group. It's called Midterm Rental Wealth, or click and subscribe for this YouTube channel, and you can learn other strategies to help you maximize your occupancy and revenue in the midterm rental space. Thanks.